Tahoe Lake School. Thank goodness we're on Lakeside. Today's 5:30 Tahoe Truckee Unified School District Board meeting. The board did meet in closed session and had no reportable action. I'll wait for you to come back. At this point, we will, Truckee in the front. Will you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance? Where's our, right there? Thank you. You guys are in charge. Front row. You can have your friends help you. You start us.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You get bonus points for being in the front. Thank you for being there. So, Superintendent Kramer, do we have any changes to the presented agenda?
No, President Julie.
Would anyone care to make a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
All in favor?
Aye.
Oh, sorry. Thank you. Second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
I think Kirsten got it already. Thank you for that.
Do we have trustee Mooney's on?
Yes.
Ed
He
is
is there. Yes.
Yeah. Okay, there he is. I see. I see.
It's okay.
At this point, the item 7 is public comment. I will remind you that each person has a 3-minute timer that will be on the screen. Please, if you could keep within that 3 minutes so everyone else has an opportunity to speak. If there are so many people that choose to speak at this appropriate time, we will, if there are too many, we'll have to extend it, but otherwise we'll try to keep it going so that we can all have a chance to speak during 7.0. What we'll ask is if you come up to the dais over here, there is a mic that has a green button. Please turn that on. And what I will do is ask 2 people, first one to come up, second one to be ready so we can move through this. And at this point, if you have a public comment and you would like to make a public comment, there are yellow sheets in the back that you may fill out just so we have record of who was here and who spoke. I do want to make a note that there were some comments that did come through our emails, and we did get those, and so thank you for reporting those. Is there anyone else that would like to add a comment? I will say that if there are so many of you that are all the same in the we'll see how it goes. Let's just see how it goes. They won't go there. So at this point, Todd Winter is first, Kristen Fielding is second. And let me just, before we go, if they're related to an item on the agenda, we will not have it now. And then, okay, thank you very much. Todd, and then Kristen, you are next.
You ready? Good evening, members of the board. My name is Todd Winter. I'm a TTUSD parent, the girls basketball coach at Truckee, and an attorney. We all know California is a compassionate state. Our non-discrimination laws certainly reflect that. However, California's non-discrimination laws are meant to protect students, not force students into unsafe or unlawful outcomes. And that's exactly what the CDE is trying to do with the mandate to join CIF. While trying to protect one group of students, the mandate unlawfully harms other groups of students who are equally protected by the very same non-discrimination laws the CDE relies on for its mandate, namely students with disabilities, girls' teams, and students whose safety is compromised by geography. These laws don't require compliance by any means necessary as the CDE is pushing. Rather, they require lawful, reasonable implementation. TTUSD is being bullied into discriminatory remedy by the CDE that dramatically increases legal risk for the district, the state, and causes real harm to our student athletes. What happens when our team travels over Donner Summit in the winter and they are stuck for hours or overnight in freezing conditions? What happens when a student with disability requires medication and can't access it while stranded on the highway? What happens when a bus full of students, athletes, is involved in an accident and injuries or worse? Is that what it's going to take for you all to act? These are real avoidable harms, and it is your duty as the school district to provide safety and protection to all students. In these scenarios, these students don't just miss a game, they risk their lives, they lose a season, they lose meaningful participation, and the same risks apply to the CIF schools forced to travel into Truckee. This isn't hypothetical, it's foreseeable, and the district can and must stop this from happening. We're not simply talking about league preferences here. We're talking about safe and meaningful participation for all students, not just one class of them, as CDE's current mandate dictates. No California League scenario offers the same safety or access for a remote mountain district like ours other than the NIAA. Therefore, the CDE's remedy, the mandate, to the gender identity complaint is discriminatory against all other student athletes. Equal access doesn't mean equal risk. It means meaningful opportunity. Anything less than staying in the NIAA with a mitigation plan is unsafe, discriminatory, diminishes participation, and therefore cannot be meaningful as the law requires. So the only lawful solution here, the only solution that protects all students, is for the district to remain in the NIAA and adopt a mitigation plan similar to what I provided you in the CDE last week. A mitigation plan can fully comply with non-discriminatory laws and include clear processes for reasonable accommodations if and when a future student wants to play consistent with their gender identity. TTUSD already knows how to make these reasonable accommodations. You can do it here. The law provides a path. So we urge you to fight the CDE on our kids' behalf before their lives are turned upside down. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Chris Brown, you are number 3, and this is Kristen Fielding.
Thank you. Superintendent Kramer and the TTUSD Board of Trustees. I come here tonight both as a district parent of 2 student athletes and an educator. I urge you to collaborate with the state leadership and the Superintendent of Public Instruction to secure an exemption from the California Interscholastic Federation, or CIF, mandate. While I respect the intent behind this policy, transitioning away from the Nevada Interscholastic Activities Association, or NIAA, presents significant safety risks and logistical barriers that would ultimately exclude many of our student athletes. First, this is a major safety and practicality issue, especially for winter sports. Competing against Sacramento area schools would require buses as well as student and parent vehicles going over Donner Pass for all visiting competitions. SAC schools, in turn, would, of course, have to come over the pass to go to our home events. Many of our smaller sports teams are not provided with buses and rely on parent drivers. It would only be a question of if, not when, there is a serious accident. Of course, the road is subject to closure, thus canceling events altogether during heavy storms. And the timing of soccer for CIF provides a significant barrier to participation, as it's a winter, not fall sport. Our soccer fields are buried under heavy winter snow, and how could our students have a home soccer game with this in mind? Would they have to go to Reno just to practice? Will students opt not to play such an amazing sport because the travel obligations and time away from studies and family if they have to travel so far? I believe every student, regardless of gender identity, should have the opportunity to play sports of their choice. However, mandated inclusivity is a failure if it compromises student safety, increases travel time, thus time away from school, and creates new barriers to participation. I wholeheartedly request that you advocate for our students on 2 fronts: prioritizing physical well-being for all of our students by obtaining an exemption to maintain our NIAA membership, and developing local accommodations for athletes who need alternative ways to participate. Thank you for your time and your consideration.
Just quick, thank you, Trustee Lindsay. There are people in the hallway that we would like to please bring in if there's a way to get them in the door. There are some seats scattered about. which would be great. After Chris Brown is going to be Dylan Baird. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you. My name is Chris Brown. I'm a parent of 2 students in the district and an alumni of North Tahoe High School. We're at a point where this community, as you can see, really needs some transparency and some real-time communication about what's happening on this issue. We've gone from being told that this move was a done deal and it was happening, to being told it was not happening, to being told it's going to happen, but we're going to have 2 years to implement it, possibly, to now we're back to it's happening and it's happening next school year. This community wants to help. It wants to get involved, and it can help. But we need to know in time so that we can get involved and participate, like many students and parents did at the recent California Department of Education board meeting by calling in. There's a bill that Todd Winters mentioned that he's worked on, that he's drafted, that he's going to try to push through the legislature. We need to know, is the district going to endorse that bill? Is it going to get behind it? Is it going to try to push it through? We don't know at this point. The district's attorney at the last board meeting and in his request for reconsideration submitted to the CDE made very strong points, the same points we're all making here tonight, about why this move is going to cause so much harm, all the impacts it's going to have. He made extremely strong points. Is the district going to take its attorney off his leash and let him file litigation to seek a TRO or an injunction to stop this move? The underlying policy doesn't need to be challenged. These safety issues, the loss of participation issues alone show that the CDE's focus in its order was an issue of tunnel vision. It was focused on one issue and one issue alone at the expense of the safety of our kids and their opportunities. It's going to be a very, very hollow victory. It's not going to be a victory for anybody if this move goes through. For a transgender student athlete that wants to play sports in this district, it's not going to be a victory if their team disintegrates or their season becomes ineffectual and they can't really participate in a meaningful way. So let's please take some action, and let's please keep us all informed about what we can do, and let's do it in a way that we have time to do it, because we need to know what the board is intending to do and whether it's going to take these actions or not, so that we can get involved if we need to. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chris. After Dylan will be Kelly Cornett. Dylan Baird.
Good evening, members of the board. My name is Dylan Baird, and I am a junior at Truckee High. As a student with a disability, because of my disability, the only sports I can safely play are golf and tennis. These aren't just activities for me. They are essential to my well-being. Sports are how I stay healthy, manage stress, and feel connected to my school without them. Without them, school becomes much harder for me. If TTUSD is forced to move to the CIF, I won't be able to play either sport. Under CIF, tennis moves into the winter and spring, and golf is also played in the spring. That means every competition requires traveling over Donner Summit during the most dangerous months of the year. Anyone who lives here knows what that means. Snowstorms, chain control, highway closures, and getting stuck for hours or overnight. For me, that's not just inconvenient, it's unsafe. I take daily medication. If we're stranded on the highway, I may not have access to what I need. That puts my health at risk. I understand that TTUSD is trying to comply with a state order from the CDE. But that order is unfair and unrealistic for a mountain district like ours. It doesn't protect students. It puts all of us students at risk. Disabled students, athletes, and families. The order is meant to include one future student, but in doing so, it excludes students like me who are here today. Students who have trained for years. Students who depend on sports to stay healthy and succeed in school. This isn't equal access. This is taking away opportunities from current students and calling it compliance. I'm asking you to stand up for students like me and find a solution that protects all students not just in theory, but in real life. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Dylan. After Kelly will be Ellen Rayner.
Good evening, Board. My name is Kelly Cornett, and thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight. I'm a proud parent, Truckee High parent, and the mother of 3 daughters. 2 of my daughters have already graduated from Truckee High School, and my youngest is currently a sophomore. All 3 of my children have been multi-sport athletes, and my sophomore is currently a 3-sport athlete participating in soccer, basketball, and track. I'm here tonight because I am deeply concerned about the league placement being considered for Truckee High School within CIF. The league the board appears to be settling on is a non-competitive, lowest-level league, and I believe this decision is not acceptable and not fair to the caliber of student athletes Truckee High School has produced, continues to produce, and has sustained over many years. This proposed league placement also creates direct conflicts with existing sports seasons. Specifically, it overlaps with both basketball and track, 2 sports my daughter actively participates in. This would once again force student athletes to choose between sports, choices they should not have to make, especially when the league itself offers no meaningful competition and no championship pathway. Truckee High School has a long and proven history of athletic excellence. To highlight, since 1996, when Truckee High School established its girls soccer program, the team has qualified for state championship tournament 26 times in the nearly 30 years, and winning the state title 12 times. That level of success is not accidental. It reflects dedicated coaches, committed athletes, and a community that values excellence. My daughter has aspirations to play soccer at the collegiate level. Placement in a non-competitive league with no championship structure does not support that goal and limits her exposure, development, and opportunities. More so, it limits the opportunities of many student athletes who have worked for years to compete at a high level. I respectfully ask the board to continue to advocate for our students and not accept a solution simply because it is easier or requires less effort. Travel over Donner Summit presents real and ongoing safety concerns, especially during the winter months, and those concerns deserve meaningful consideration alongside competitive equity. Our student athletes and families rely on this board to fight for solutions that prioritize safety, fairness, and opportunity, not to settle for options that limit programs or place unnecessary burdens on students. Truckee High School and North Tahoe High School deserve better, and our athletes deserve the board's continued commitment to finding it. Thank you.
Thank you, Kelly. After Ellen is going to be Han Winter.
Hello, my name is Ellen Reiner. I'm a sophomore at Truckee High School, and I play for the girls' basketball team and the soccer team as well. Freshman year was my first ever year playing basketball. As a sophomore now, I can say I've improved more than I knew I could and made so many friends thanks to the program. As you can imagine, being a student athlete is very fun but stressful. You have practice, homework, and games. Coming home after games, it gets late, and even later when there's schoolwork involved. If we were to be in the CIF, coming home from games would be a nightmare considering dangerous weather and long trips constantly. As well as this, many dual athletes at Truckee High School will have to make a decision between 2 sports they love. For example, basketball and soccer. That would be truly upsetting for me and many others in a similar situation. There are countless negatives that greatly outweigh the positives regarding this decision, and I believe that the district has failed to stand up for all the athletes harmed by this execution with this decision. I believe that our programs at Truckee High School have a great level of competitiveness to where athletes can grow and succeed in sports. A move to the CIF would alter at which level sports compete at, harming the improvement and growth of our teams. Not to mention the fun within a good level of competitiveness would be lost. Sports are such an important part of many students' lives, giving them more social engagement, boosting physical and social health, and teaching crucial life lessons and skills. To conclude, I'd like to say how many negatives are introduced when considering a move to the CIF that not only harm students mentally, but more importantly, physically, even putting countless students' lives on the line. Thank you.
Thank you, Ellen. After Ian will be Scott Reiner.
Hello? Oh. Hello? Oh, neither one worked. Okay. It's okay. Good evening, members of the board and Superintendent Kramer. What I'm hearing from public comments show, and what the public comments show, are that one, time is of the essence for TTUSD to act on behalf of current students. Two, California's non-discrimination laws protect all students, not just one group at a time. Three, the issue before the district requires the district to balance the equal rights of multiple protected classes: students with disabilities, female, male, transgender, and all others whose access to sports depends on safety and geography here. Four, no student athlete matters more than another. California law does not make the district choose which student matters more. Five, the CDE corrective action mandate does require that choice, and that is not lawful. Six, when a student who chooses to play based on their gender identity does have a complaint or an issue, that can be dealt with. TTUSD knows how to make reasonable accommodations. It does so, and the law allows that path here. And we urge TTUSD to take that route and act swiftly on behalf of our whole community. Thank you.
Thank you, Ian. After Scott is Todd White, please.
Hello, my name is Scott Reiner. My daughter Ellen is a sophomore at Truckee High School and enjoys playing both soccer and basketball for the school. Participating in these sports has really enriched her high school experience. She's made many new friends and has learned many valuable life lessons through sports. It has taught her how to deal with adversity, the highs and lows of winning and losing, and the experience of being on a team working towards a common goal through hard work and determination. I see several major issues with this decision to force our local schools to join the CIF. The first and most pressing issue is the safety of our student athletes. Joining the CIF would require student athletes from both sides to be bussed up and down I-80 and over Donner Summit many times during any given sports season. This section of I-80 is very dangerous. In fact, it was recently ranked the 8th most dangerous in the nation, with an average of over 55 deaths per year over the last 6 years. Yes, more than 1 death per week. Of course, these dangers are much worse in the winter. A 2-hour trip can easily turn into a 4, 6, or 8 hours, or as often happens, the road can suddenly be closed altogether, which would strand athletes on one side or other of the summit. The acute safety risk and additional travel hours in and of itself should be reason enough to grant our schools an exemption from the current law. Traveling long distances over Donner Summit to play sports makes no sense at all. The second primary issue is the fact that the CIF plays girls soccer in the winter season, which would prevent girls like my daughter from being able to play both soccer and basketball, since girls basketball is also in the winter in CIF. It is actually very likely that girls soccer would be canceled altogether in the Tahoe area, since there would be no way for us to train properly or host home games during the winter for obvious reasons. We have been told that we would have the option of playing in a spring league, but it is not competitive and offers no path to state playoffs. Making it to the playoffs and hopefully state finals is what these girls strive for all season, and they work very hard to achieve this both on and off the field. Our girls deserve the same opportunity as all the other girls in the state to play competitive soccer and have a shot at being state champions. The final issue I'd like to mention is the fact if we are not granted an exemption to stay in the NIAA, our students will have no sports season at all for the 2026-2027 season, as it is too late to join leagues and coordinate schedules for the next season. This would be devastating and absolutely heartbreaking for our students who cherish their high school sports experience. This would also break many decades of school tradition enjoyed by generations of Tahoe students and would have a negative impact on our students' mental health. Respectfully, please reconsider this decision to force our schools to leave the NIAA and join the CIF. Hundreds of student athletes in our area are relying on you to make the right decision on behalf of their health and well-being. Please reconsider. Thank you.
After Todd is Ashley Gillis. Todd White.
Good evening. My name is Todd White, and I'm here on behalf of State Senator Marie Alvarado Gill. It's a nice little drive up here from Alvarado Hills. This is a beautiful place, and we appreciate all the emails and phone calls that we've gotten out of our whole district, which spans all the way to Inyo County. This is the most talked about school district in our district. So congratulations, you're number one. So I'll be brief. I don't need to go over the reasons that were already mentioned of why this district should stay in the NIAA, but we are happy to partner with the community to come up with a legislative exemption. Obviously, this policy is one of numerous state policies that don't fit rural communities, especially those that border other states. So we're more than happy to help and try to advocate for you to stay in the league for the reasons that you all mentioned. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much for that. After Ashley is Misty Garberson. Thank you, Todd. Ashley.
Good evening, members of the board. As I begin, if you are a soccer player or a parent of a soccer player, will you please raise your hand? Thank you. I'm Ashley. I coach the girls soccer program at Truckee High School, and I've been coaching in this community for 16 years. I'm speaking tonight as someone responsible not only for the safety of student athletes, but also for ensuring they have access to meaningful participation. As you move forward with the transition from NIAA to CIF, I need to address two critical concerns: safety and meaningful participation. This transition would require teams to travel over Donner Summit during winter, often at night, in snow, ice, and chain control conditions. This is a predictable risk in our region and one that carries serious liability implications for students, staff, visiting teams, and coaches. There are also practical, unanswered safety questions. If we cannot make it over the summit, am I responsible for the safety of 40 students on a bus indefinitely? Will hotels be arranged? Will teams be forced to stay at other schools? Should families expect their children to bring sleeping bags and pack overnight bags to every game? These are not realistic or responsible expectations. Equally important is meaningful participation. The league we are being considered to be placed into for CIF is Division 7, the lowest division that exists, with no opportunity for advancement to regional or state playoffs. Our current program has consistently competed at the highest levels of its league, often advancing to regional and state postseason play. This opportunity is not a luxury. It's central to why these athletes train, commit, and remain engaged. Placing our program in a league with no pathway forward will result in a drastic decline in participation, motivation, and program quality. Over time, this will effectively dismantle our entire program. I also need to be clear, I will not coach under these conditions. A program of this standard requires experience, leadership, and competitive opportunity. Removing that will fundamentally change what these athletes receive and whether participation remains meaningful. I am speaking on behalf of 40 JV and varsity athletes at Truckee High, the 22 club soccer players whose futures at Truckee and North Tahoe High School are affected, and the 18 middle school girls that I also coach who are now facing the reality that they may never have a safe or meaningful opportunity to compete at the high school level, something they have looked forward to for years. Ultimately, I cannot, in good conscience, be a part of a system where adults knowingly place children in harm's way or remove the very elements that make participation meaningful. I respectfully ask this board to pause and reconsider the decision, or to explore an alternative that reflects both your duty of care and your responsibility to provide meaningful athletic opportunities. My closing thought is this: if and when a tragedy or collapse of this program occurs, the question will not be whether the consequences were known, it will be why they were ignored. Thank you.
After Misty is Amanda Cronk.
Hello, my name is Misty. I have a daughter at Truckee High who's played JV soccer at Truckee, and they had an undefeated season. She started playing soccer at 5 years old for AYSO, then progressed to play a more competitive soccer with the local club team, Truckee River United, not to mention playing for indoor and futsal teams on the side. We have put in countless hours of hard work and dedication to our local soccer for years. I'm advocating for the district to support our soccer girls, among other sports, to stay in the NIAA versus CIF. My concerns are, like many, for our athletes to not travel over the summit in the winter months and have missed opportunities of not only practicing but playing outdoor games in Truckee due to snow or lack of facilities. The players would also be at a disadvantage of college opportunities pending which division they would fall into, or possibly not having a season at all. I can go on. This affects my other daughter, who is in 7th grade, who plays multi-sports, basketball and soccer, which she would have to make a decision which sport to choose in high school. Please acknowledge our voices, emails, statements, and their safety, and support us in staying in the NIAA for all athletes and not just soccer. Lastly, we have come a long way in women's rights and respect in women's sports. Just to go back, please reconsider.
Hello, greetings, board. Good evening. Thank you for being here and listening to us today. For the record, my name is Amanda Conk. I have two high school athletes, one senior and one freshman. They both are soccer players. I apologize in advance for not having my notes organized, but I'm here to speak to two comments that have not yet been addressed in front of this board and in front of this room today. The first is I'll call it a rumor that I heard 2 days ago over the weekend, and that is that while it is true that every sport of every school will be asked to move to CIF, there's going to be one exemption granted. That exemption is for Truckee football. Now, I don't know if you guys have heard this yet, but there is a large impression in our community that there is a single sport that gets prioritized, and that is football. I got to admit, personally, I don't believe that is true. I believe our district works hard to accommodate everybody. This is not following that impression. I hope that we are able to find exemptions for everybody. The second thing, and it relates, that I want to bring to everyone's attention, is that there was talk of a community, let's call it an oversight committee. This community oversight committee is going to help with the creation of this. They're going to help move us through these things. I have been waiting patiently for an invitation to join that committee, for an invitation to work progressively and cooperatively with the school district and the lawyers and everybody involved. That invitation is yet to arrive. So I had thought that we were moving slowly, that things hadn't been changed, but when I heard that there's an exemption being pushed forward for football and not the other sports, I had to come to the mic and just say, where are we with this? Board, I understand that this is not a board level initiative, but what I please implore you to do is direct staff to work with the community, to work with the coaches, to work with the lawyers, to continue to push transparency and equal rights for everyone involved. Thank you.
After Forrest is Daniel Hansen.
My name is Forrest Hansen. I'm an 8th grader at ACMS, and I'll be attending Truckee High School next year. I play soccer and I competitively Nordic ski. If we move to CIF, I won't be able to do both. I'll be forced to choose. Soccer is my passion. It's not just something I do after school. It's something I've worked for years. I train year-round. I spent countless hours practicing, traveling, studying the game, and making sacrifices, missing time with friends, getting up early, and working through injuries, because I want to play at the highest level I can, including in college. Right now, I'm worried that opportunity is being taken away before I can get into high school. If we are forced to move to CIF, the soccer program at Truckee High School will be completely changed and possibly eliminated. Our season would likely shift to winter and games would be canceled. Many athletes, like me, would be forced to choose between two sports. Practices would be moved into small, ineffective indoor spaces. As a result, we would have a clear competitive disadvantage. It feels like we are being punished because of where we live. And for athletes like me, that matters. College coaches don't just look at club teams. They look at high school programs. They'll look at consistency, competition, and visibility. If a program is weakened, so are our chances. And this isn't just about me. My teammates are worried too. Some of them rely on high school soccer as a real pathway to college. Many are low-income students with fewer options if these opportunities disappear. We didn't create the system. We're just students trying to do our best in school, in sports, and in our community. I'm asking you to slow this down and fight for us. Fight for all students. Please don't rush a decision that affects so many students' futures. Please listen to the athletes who are living this every day. And please fight for a solution that keeps our programs strong, safe, and fair. Thank you for listening.
Daniel Hansen, and after Daniel is Aaron. I think it's C. Can't read it. Thank you, Daniel.
All right, my name's Daniel Hansen. I'm the parent of 5 TTUSD students. That was one of them. Don't worry, I didn't bring them all. So obviously I care deeply about this issue. I'm here tonight because our kids are really being placed in harm's way, not hypothetically, but foreseeably. Our children are caught in the middle of a bureaucratic and a political battle that ignores the reality of where we live. Let me be clear, this is not just about ideology. It's about student safety, equity, instructional time, and opportunity. It's about balancing the complex needs of all TTUSD students. If we're forced into the CIF, especially on the current proposed timeline, there will be definite and measurable adverse effects on our community and our students. The list goes on. I won't list them out. We know them. But most importantly, these harms are foreseeable. And when harm is foreseeable, leadership requires action. So tonight I'm asking the board for 3 things. 1, bold leadership. Leadership does not mean accepting or complying with a mandate that we all know puts our students in harm's way. It means standing up for the children and the families you represent, all of them, even when that's uncomfortable or complicated. And we all appreciate, this whole room understands, this is a complicated situation. 2nd, legal recourse against the CDE. File a temporary restraining order against the CDE. This would pause their enforcement action so that our students are not exposed to the foreseeable safety and equity harms while the courts and the legislature can figure out a fix. We have a representative here proposing that they're willing to work with us on this very issue. We've already established in California exemptions for rural mountainous communities. Let's work with that. If the CDE threatens to punish our district, you can be sure that there will be litigation and national level spotlight attention on this issue. 3rd and lastly, transparency, press engagement, and genuine community involvement. This is a packed room of people who care, who are actively trying to be involved. Let us get the press involved. Reach out to our public officials. Find solutions. Share the mitigation plan that was proposed. You guys represent this community. You represent our students. You're entrusted with their well-being, both academic and athletic. And when a policy decision from afar places them at risk, compliance is not acceptable. We have to fight for them. So please choose leadership, choose action, fight an obviously well-intentioned but ill-thought-out decision from the CDE. And most importantly, please choose our kids and our community. Thank you.
Daniel, and then this is Aaron. Is it Jimmy?
Shalene.
Thank you.
Close. Thank you. I'm going to take a different approach because I think everybody's made some really good points. I don't want to duplicate them. There's so many students here and people here. I want to give you the opportunity to weigh in. I'm also going to ask you some questions. What I'm hearing from this plan honestly sounds so ludicrous. I think that's the best word to describe this. It's almost like it's not real. So just to recap, here's the facts that a lot of us are hearing. You tell me if they're right or wrong. The first one, The state and the district are no longer putting student safety first. Correct? Okay. So, board and audience, go ahead and raise your hand if you feel this is unacceptable. To not put safety first. Second, in the name of inclusion, you're willing to exclude dozens and dozens of students from their sports, correct? Raise your hand if you feel this is unacceptable. Third, not a single student has complained about not being able to participate, correct? I won't ask the audience that one. They don't know for sure. Fourth fact, the move would lead to a loss of opportunities with a greater impact based on gender and income, correct? Audience, is that unacceptable? You're going to have kids that can afford to go on travel programs to replace the high school sports. You're going to have so many that don't have that option. Fifth fact, we've heard this before. Soccer in winter, and I want to stress this, or even early spring is not an option. It's a dead end. We've tried it. I coach soccer. We've been there. I sent you a detailed list of why that does not work. You are basically paving a dead end road. So raise your hand if you feel that's unacceptable. In the audience, raise your hand if you feel that's unacceptable. Okay, if those facts are true, that is literally the definition of ludicrous. So here are my takeaways. It's not okay to simply ask for a delay in the transition. That's not what we're asking for. It's not acceptable. Second, this will be your legacy, okay? I hope you realize that. People are going to attach what the outcome is to you on the board and what you're doing. Okay, it's not okay to just kneel down before the state in the expense of our kids. I appreciate your thoughtfulness, but we need some bold and creative action. Thank you.
I have no more yellow comments, which brings us to the end of public comment. Is there anyone else who did not get a chance to speak that has something different or more to say? At this point, I will close public comment and I will just give our superintendent an opportunity to respond. Just a quick reminder, we as a board are not allowed to respond to questions, so we do have, we are taking notes, but we are not allowed to engage in a interactive comment with you just because of the board policies and the that's just because we're not allowed to. This is not the purpose of this public comment. However, I do want to take some time to have Superintendent Kramer address some of these points and to clarify some of the things that were stated, if that's possible.
I'm just going to clarify with my team. Rory, do you need me to move to a mic or can you hear me okay?
No, I can hear you fine.
Okay.
You have that little one in front of Mike. There's a small...
Oh, got it. Okay. Great. Thank you. Well, first, as always, we so appreciate our community and your engagement. The fact that you would come out tonight and speak, share from the heart your concerns. It's especially impactful hearing from the students, your collegiate aspirations from the soccer, and AJ, your email, helping us understand facility-wise with the artificial turf, how that doesn't work. So please know that we do read the emails, we listen to the comments, and we take in, I think, one of the phrases that really stuck out to me in many notes was the competitive equity, I think was the phrase that I heard. But we received some good questions from the community, one of which was about the State Board of Education. So the State Board had a meeting last week, and we had community members call into public comment, and they wondered why the board and myself did not, which was a great question. So in the state of California, there's two regulatory authorities over public education. The State Board of Education is over the curriculum and the Common Core standards, recommending curricular programs. So we did not reach out to the state board because they don't oversee the ed code and athletics. But I think I'm sure that your message got up to the governor who oversees the state board. So we appreciate always that you're advocating for our district and speaking out for what you think is right for our students. I'm sure that reached Governor Newsom. So we did not reach out. As you know, on the website, the T2SD website, we shared our letter that we sent to State Superintendent Tony Thurman. He oversees the California Department of Education. That is the regulatory authority that has mandated our move to CIF. And we had asked for a 2-year transition, and as you know, they got back to us and said, no, it needs to be next fall. We all know in the spring, and I think Chris referenced it, we went through that. We did 6 weeks of intense review, lots of input from you. We know the rushed move is detrimental to athletes. So with the CDE and the response to Superintendent Thurman, our request is still out there. So you will see an update tomorrow. We have worked tonight and an agreement on our latest letter that will go to the CDE. So please know that we are hearing what you say. We are not satisfied with the corrective action as it stands as well. Did you want to, President Driller, say anything more? I think I stole your thunder about Superintendent Kramer.
I definitely wanted Superintendent Kramer to have the opportunity to explain to you that we are obviously dealing with something that is way above there, and it's politicalizing a situation that is affecting our students. And so my 2 cents for us as a board is that we listen to our community. And I spoke to a parent this morning, just sharing with you that we are doing what you're asking, but we're just getting shut down everywhere we go. So we're looking, and again, I think Chris Brown mentioned it, and I see, I do see, I think it's Aaron shaking his head. We're looking for solutions. We're trying to work on solutions. We are definitely, obviously, as you all heard the federal news, we're in the limelight. This is something that's not going to be solved today. We are, again, and I've been in this district for a very long time. Sports are a big deal. But I want you to know that we as a board we have very similar comments. This is uncharted territory. We're moving forward. We're asking legal advice. But you have to know that we are in the back depths of our discussion. We are doing what you're asking. We just don't have it. We just can't do it. So we're obviously, Chris Brown, thank you. We would love to have committee. We don't have an answer as to certain things. Superintendent Kramer is going to get this committee together. So I think, I can't remember who it was that said she wanted to be on it. Amanda. You know, we're going to get you. And we're definitely listening to you. And I think it's someone wrote, and I wrote, the district has failed us. And that makes me cringe because you have, I mean, again, everything that we do is on the website. So transparency, you have it when we have it. And I want you to know that this board here does not look lightly on that. Again, traveling over the summit, we get it all. We get it. So if there's solutions moving forward, and I don't want you to think that we are not taking you seriously and moving forward with everything we possibly can. But I guess my point is we're trying, so help us. I'm going to say, don't say we failed you. Like we're doing what we can. And if there's other things that we should be doing, we'll take them. But I just don't want you to think that we're not listening to you as soccer players, as educators, as anybody. So with that, is there any other board that wants to make any more comments?
Why don't you just not comply? Just not comply.
Technically, this isn't an agenda item, so I think we're being sensitive to that. It's not that we're not listening.
Why not? I was going to share.
So
yeah,
my
good.
point.
Yeah, go ahead, Danielle.
Next step was
Yep.
saying, because we didn't have an update, that's why it wasn't an agenda item. But I think because there's been additional information and an outreach for some additional support, we do have a reason to put it on as an agenda item next time so that we can have a more open dialogue as a board and also with the community about some of these alternatives. Because I think what we're hearing through the public comment is the district is not being advocates. We're not out there fighting on behalf of the students, and maybe non-compliance is one of those options, but we as a board have not in open session had the opportunity to talk about what non-compliance looks like. And so I think as a next action, if the superintendent is interested and able to do that and has information, we could walk through some of these public comments more specifically of what those options could look like. You know, if we're talking about a waiver request, and we're talking about what it looks like to potentially not comply, and sort of the alternatives with that, then that sort of brings all that information for open discussion.
Yeah, and so the board and I discussed about the anticipated litigation that for the transparency that we will have a standing athletics item until we come to some sort of satisfactory resolution, just because I hadn't been putting it on because we didn't have updates yet, but we'll move it to the beginning of the meeting so that if people want to come in here or watch online or come and do comment, we'll put it at the beginning so that you have that opportunity and then you can move on with your evening. Of course, you're always welcome to stay for the rest of the meeting, but we will make it for the February 4th, and moving forward, we'll keep it as a standing item to try to address that and allow for the board to engage and speak more.
Okay, so in
Yeah.
closing with that public comment, again, reiterating, this is not a discussion back and forth, but I want to just shout out to our students who spoke. That means a lot to us, and we definitely respect all of your comments, and I think you're all getting better at speaking, which is phenomenal. The rumor is wrong. Leave it at that?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll leave it at that, and then with that, we'll close public comment. Thank you all very much, and I do want to remind you that if anything is printed and written, it's on our website. We try to put everything there so it's on one site so you can see it, read it, understand it, or question it, so you can see what we're doing. And yes, we have not heard back from Thurman, but who knows? Anyway, with that, I think we might have a moment of transition. If you are interested in staying, please do. If not, now is your time to stretch your legs. Thank you for coming. Yes, I recognize you. Yeah, thanks so much.
Where can I type my passwords?
Start smoking.
Thanks for letting me know. Nobody else told me yet. And there were like 95 people that got that.
Oh, which one? Maybe.
It was like a Microsoft weird one. It was a real
Thank you
one.
very much. There's some in it that now that I'm like, that's fake news. I usually just delete it, but I actually, my thought for Ed was that more people might got it. I feel more Ed.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, I'm just talking about Sean.
Oh, I'm sorry.
This is not
I'm thinking about my presentation.
Are we still broadcasting?
Corey still.
I don't know. I'm just
I think we are.
No. It's okay. You're not saying. But it could be hot mic.
Yes. What do we need? It's fine. We're good.
Okay, you guys do me a favor.
There's no end to
I'm going to reconvene the meeting.
Oh.
Thank you very much for all of you 8.0. Introduce the president of, principal.
And president.
We are going to take a mindful minute. We'll just make it a mindful 10 seconds for the board's behalf, please, or interest. Thank you.
You can put your favorite hot drink in a cup and breathe it in. And then cool it. That's my favorite one. Coffee all day.
Okay, Superintendent Kramer, back to 8.0, please.
Well, we are so excited to be here at Tahoe Lake Elementary and to hear from Principal Stephanie Focek and her team and do a showcase on Tahoe Lake. So welcome and thanks for having us here.
Thank you, thank you. It is our honor to have you all here with us tonight at Tahoe Lake. And tonight we're really highlighting social emotional wellness and the practices that we engage in. So it's a great segue. Thank you for leading us into that, Board Member Hennessy. Before we get into our SEL practices, I wanted to just highlight a few pieces of growth, academic growth that we're really proud of. If you look at this from the California dashboard, if you're looking at improvement, which is what we really value, we always want to know where our kiddos are when they start with us and how they're growing throughout the year. And if you look at this for English language arts growth, 88.9% of our students, as measured by CASP, grew last year. And math, 93.8% of our Tahoe Lake Cubs grew in their CASP scores, which is so meaningful to us because we want to constantly see that student growth. We are shooting for grade level and above standards, but as long as our kiddos are growing, we know that our practices are working, our really intentional instruction is there, and we're just always celebrating that growth. Just another little snapshot there of like where we are above standard comparatively. So we always are measuring that standard, but really it's that growth that is so huge, and we're always trying to capture that because when you're really pushing someone that has been far below grade level to try and get to grade level, it can feel really hard. But if we're looking at, look at that growth, you're making more than a grade level's worth of growth in a year. You're just not maybe at that target yet, but we can't lose sight of celebrating that growth. So wanted to share that with you tonight and then move into a focus with our amazing team on our social emotional learning at Tahoe Lake. And I'm going to turn it over to Emily Delorier, our wellness coordinator.
Okay. Hello, everyone. I'm going to get us started. Okay, so we are focused on social emotional learning for this year. So at the beginning of this year, our district implemented a new SEL program called Satchel Pulse. That's helped us assess the students' SEL needs and then also provide resources for us, the teachers, parents, students as well. And it's given us an overall picture of what we need to work on with individual students and then also as a school in general. And so we wanted to focus our spotlight tonight on that and highlight our strengths and also our areas of improvement. So we looked at our strengths, which are relationship building, recognizing strengths in themselves, respect for others, ethical responsibility, and appreciating diversity. All of these are what that program has said our school is awesome at. And we wanted to look at how are we as a school implementing these sorts of things in the everyday, and that's why it is our top skills. So to start with relationship building, we have our grade buddies, and as pictured is Miss Lewis and Miss Rye's class. That's where our third graders go in with our first graders, and they do some sort of activity. In this particular picture, they're building an elf on the shelf, and they were all competing for who could build the biggest shelf for the elf. We have board games in Miss Scoville's room a few times a week during recess where the different grades could go in, work together, and we've seen students teaching the younger students how to play the various games, which is awesome. And then we have our spirit days probably once a month, I think it is. We have Pattern Day on Friday. And that builds relationships just to give children the opportunity to be silly and creative and kind of have that connection of, oh, you're all superheroes, that's cooler, we're all wearing the same pattern, those sorts of things. We did a poll of our classrooms, and 16 out of 18 of them complete a morning meeting or check-in to help students connect with each other. Continuing on with relationship building, we have our wellness center. That's what I do. So we're open during recess. We're open at all times, but during recess, we have kids of all ages come in. They play games together. They do crafts together, and it's really awesome to see them working together. Say, hey, do you want to play with me? And build those relationships. Each spring, we do the Tahoe Lake Post Office, and that's headed by our fourth graders who are our postmasters. But each student is assigned a different student in the school from a various grade, and they write letters back and forth to each other. And then we also have our class pets, which I believe was the spotlight last year. And that's really great for relationship building, because whether it comes to caretaking after the animals or just connecting over them, students are building those relationships with one another. We saw in our ethical responsibility, we have our peacemakers on campus that is headed by our school counselor. They are a group of students who volunteer to learn the skills of conflict resolution. And so they go out with those vests on at recess, and they have that ethical responsibility to take on problems that they see and help other students solve those problems. We have our green team, which is headed by SWEP, and they teach kids the responsibility of keeping our planet healthy and green. And then we also have common language here at school for expected versus unexpected behavior. So when you go into various classrooms, if a student maybe isn't having the best behavior, the language around it is that's an unexpected behavior in our classroom, and so that just keeps consistency across the board for us. And then our school mantra, I would say, is safe, responsible, and respectful. That's also kind of one of those common languages you see when here in the classroom, that was something that was really safe. I'll speak to our Wall of Fame that kind of addresses that too later on. And then to further enhance our ethical responsibility on campus is students earn cup cards for being safe, respectful, and responsible, handed out by any teacher at any time of like, hey, I just saw you do something awesome. And they can earn a certain amount, go to the library, and get prizes, which they're really excited for. And I'm going to pass it over to Gina.
Sorry, we travel in a pack these days. The three of us, everywhere we go. I just want to say thank you to the board, as always, every time I speak, whether it's in hard times or these kinds of times. I appreciate you, and I hope you guys know that. I can't imagine how it is to sit in your seats, so thank you for what you do. And I got to speak about this last year, and I'll speak about it every year. It's a hill I'm going to die on for the rest of my life is SEL, but this is something that I say in my classroom every day with my kids. If some of you watch NFL, we're big NFL watchers at our house. This is actually an NFL commercial. There's a bunch of different types of kids in the commercial. You can Google it from when the NFL players do outreach to where they come from, but also from all over the United States, and they make them say this and they chant it back and forth. The biggest line we focus on is "I'm respected, protected, and never rejected." And at the end, it's like you get them jazzed up. So it's because I am, and they say I am somebody, somebody. I am somebody, and then we do it really, really loud. And we try to start the day off with this. We talk about positive affirmations because we tell you, no matter what you tell yourself, if it's negative or positive, you're going to believe it. And if you talk to yourself in a positive way, even when you don't feel that way, it can greatly affect your day, your life, your academics, everything. I've never used one of these. I just click this aerial. Okay. Okay. Here's some other ways that we recognize each other's strengths. So there's tons of different ways at Tahoe Lake that I've seen it highlighted. I worked at Glenshire first and at Tahoe Lake, and I've seen a lot of outside of the classroom stuff, which I enjoy because when you walk down the hallway, you know what's happening. But just from filling, someone's bucket, that's when you give someone a compliment, you're filling up their bucket instead of taking away. Giving someone a compliment is a big one. Third grade we do January perk ups, and yesterday was Give a Compliment Day. We did like a poster for ours. Miss Lewis's class wrote little compliment cards and brought some of them into our kids. You can see the way they fill up when they get a compliment by a peer. It's one thing for us to give compliments all day because they're like, yeah, Miss G, we know. You're giving us positive self-talk all day long, but when they hear it from a peer, it really means something to them, and they really listen to it. When someone says, oh my God, your shoes are so cute, you're like, yes, I'm winning today. And that's the same thing how the kids feel. They want those compliments from their peers, and it helps change their inner dialogue and how they feel about themselves. Our character trait of the month is a huge one too. Emily has been amazing coming into the rooms and teaching them about the character trait, and then they know when they earn that prize, or they know what they actually did. They know what their character trait is, and hopefully building that inner wealth inside of them so that they really believe that. Shout outs, Hall of Fame is an amazing one. There's more and more pictures every week, and I love it. And some people do kind of shout outs in different ways in their classrooms as well. I think the video is going to play. Yeah, perfect. So having respect for others is what's really important. Is he's sharing something that's good that's happened, something that's not so good that's happened. So in Miss Osborne's, they do rose, bud, and thorn. You can do it in different ways: mountains, lakes, and valleys. It kind of, you change it up. But the biggest thing there is just listening to your classmates and giving them the space and the time to speak. So we don't always, as teachers especially, don't give every single person a chance to speak, or we'd be in school until like 9 o'clock at night. So it's nice to have that quick action and reaction from their peers. They have the space. If they're the speaker, they know what to do, and if they're the audience, they know what to do. You can see a different one up there that's more of a visual. We have reading companions. They're amazing. They come to school. Those are just 2, I think, of the 4 that come to school. So helping us also form respect for animals as well, which is amazing. And I stuck this one in last minute, but oftentimes in my class, when someone shares something out and it's incorrect, we say, Miss Kramer, you're so brave, because then turn quickly into a new subject, and they have totally forgotten that they've even shared something that was incorrect, and more just that they shared. Appreciating diversity. This is probably one of my favorites to do in my class. We've done so much like outreach in ourselves and asking for money from PTO to get stuff to really help our classrooms be inclusive and welcoming to all people. A lot of these signs you'll see throughout the school when you walk through Tahoe Lake, that really just shows no matter who you are and what walk of life, truly, all those people are welcome in this school and in our classroom, and school is a safe place for all people, and that's how we want to keep it that way no matter what. Mrs. Lay's Passport Project really highlights that. She got a ton of books through the PTO that really helps support celebrating holidays around the world and accepting people from different backgrounds, which we have somewhat of here, but we know we don't have a ton of. So it's really nice to be able to bring in literature, especially to be able to get that across, especially to the little kids. I've also gotten a ton of, actually ExaNet and PTO has funded a lot of my class libraries. Bodies are cool. These are all inclusion and diversity big. This is about a big ballerina. I don't know if anyone knows ballet. Freckle-Faced Strawberry and John's Turn. They're all books that are about something that's different than the norm that we've normalized. It's the best way to teach in elementary, because if you have your own biases and you are trying to say, I'm trying to tell you something but I'm not sure how to keep my own thoughts out, books are your go-to, and they are gifts because you don't have to actually say how you feel. You can read a story and it says it for itself. We celebrate things like Family Heritage Night. I talked about Miss Lay's class, and we talked a lot about doing holidays so we celebrate Christmas or Valentine's Day or all these things and all these other amazing things that are celebrated. And lastly, we just started doing this helping friends. We have 2 SDC classrooms here at Tahoe Lake, and we try to get our kiddos engaged with each other and interacting with each other as much as possible. So each day we try, this is my class, but we also have other ways, reading buddies and other things like that. They go down to their classroom and they just hang out. And it's maybe playing with the Magna tiles or reading or doing an art project, but it really helps them to understand how they kind of function and how we function. Then when they're all together, they're just one unit and they don't even blink an eye. So that's one of our newest things. I think that's it for me. And thank you guys.
Okay, back up to me. Okay, so we're obviously awesome here at Tahoe Lake, but we do have areas of improvements, unfortunately. Some of those are perspective taking, stress management, identifying emotions, impulse control, and goal setting. And so our SEL PLC team took a look at these areas of improvements and questioned what we needed to do in order to make those our strengths. And so one way we came up with that I will speak to is we created a SEL What I Need group. So every day throughout the school day, there's a What I Need group. Students are sent to various reading groups, math groups, whatever it may be that they need more practice in. And so we have started a SEL one with our 4th graders being the guinea pigs. And so they come in, and right now we are focused on perspective taking. We use Satchel Pulse lessons. I've been teaching them perspective taking, and what we hope to gain from this is them kind of doing like what I do with the character traits and going in and teaching a lesson. But we want them to practice perspective taking by coming up with some sort of activity, whether it be like right now they're thinking about a board game, reading a book, doing a skit, something like that. Going into the lower level grades and teaching what perspective taking is. So we're double dipping in that our 4th graders have to think about what would a 1st grader think, or how would they learn perspective taking, and then they have to apply it. And now I'm going to pass it over to our new school counselor.
I just have to say, it's so wonderful to be here. I started after winter break as the new school counselor at Tahoe Lake. And just coming in with the staff and our students, the work that they're all doing here is incredible. I also have a child in kindergarten here, and I just have to say it truly is a dream to be here. So with that said, it's been very exciting that we're focusing on this as well, as this is all part of my role. And some of the things that I've already been working on since starting after winter break, just to provide easier access with those areas of improvements and helping our teachers implement them within the classroom. We will be doing, I help to direct what those weekly second step lessons will be as we relate them to our Satchel Pulse themes. And the themes we are taking are from those areas of improvement so that we can really focus on those each month. And then also including what's wonderful about Satchel Pulse, I do geek out on it a lot, is that the parent guides that they provide, I am taking information from that and able to provide that into our parent newsletters each week so that we are offering other suggestions that parents can do at home with their students that focus on those areas of improvement. Also, being able to integrate our SEL opportunities that we can, that teachers can do within their school day. I'm posting those in our teacher updates and our weekly updates. Again, Satchel Pulse provides some wonderful check-in questions, thoughts of the day, things that they can post in their classrooms that focus on SEL and those areas of improvement. And then, again, I'm learning from the best that is here that they are already doing so many wonderful things in their classrooms. And so being able to highlight those things in the weekly updates is my goal. so that teachers can pull ideas from each other. We don't all get to see each other in the classroom, so it's nice for them to be able to highlight the work they're already doing and for us to all learn from each other. Some other ways that we are implementing these. Oh, nice. It's so cute. There's no audio. Okay. But Mrs. Lay, she's implementing the practice of identifying emotions to select so students can see from like a mood board each day. As someone that is coming from working at a middle school, I think it is extremely important that we start now with helping students to identify those emotions. This is where it's all beginning. Mrs. Osborne, she has her students practicing goal setting by creating the Hopes and Dreams project in her classroom. We are having some group opportunities here with myself and Sierra Community House. Another wonderful thing with Satchel Pulse is being able to see those areas of needs in the students and being able to collect that data and group them together to help them to identify those groups. Also amazing, we just live in such a wonderful place, and having access to be able to cross-country ski, get those kids outside, do what helps. The nature is just so important, and that can enhance with that stress management, another area of improvement we're focusing on. And I think that is it. Thank you all.
Thank you very much. It's always that's a tough act to follow, but you guys did a really good job. Does the board have any comments?
Yeah. Since it's right in front of me, I'll start since I didn't get to speak the first part of the meeting. No, I just, in all seriousness, I really love when schools get to talk about what they're doing with SEL because, as we grow kids through our district, and I can only speak to my experience as a parent on Lakeside schools, is the culture of the schools, right? So that when students in middle school and high school and even adults, as we kind of veer off like positive self-talk or healthy emotions, we have a foundation to go back to. And the fact that we're talking about in elementary school the amount of resources, knowledge, and passion that is poured into our students, make it to where you're a crazy middle schooler, but a loving, trusting adult can bring you back to what you know. And that starts here, and I'm so appreciative of the work that you all do. Thank you for sharing. Oh, Kirsten, sorry. All the K's.
I love this presentation. It's one of our highlights, I think, for when we're here on the board. It balances out some of the more difficult discussions that we have as a board, and really gives us a good perspective of what's happening at each school level. And I really do like the focus on culture. You can just feel it through this presentation. We feel it when we come into the school. I really want my own, which we do. Are you? I feel like there's days where you just sort of put that up, like in the window of your car or whatever. It's so helpful. I have a little Google slide. It makes me cutouts because I feel like, helping kids kind of understand that it's so critical at this age to be able to express themselves and feel welcome to be able to do that in so many different varieties. And the power of books. Books are a gift. I love that statement. You're just giving them so many tools to be successful, and you can see that as they progress through TTUSD's all the way through high school. So it's just remarkable. I love seeing this.
Pat, did you want to have any comments? So that email that came out and said it was happening, I think he got it. So we're leaving him home. We'll definitely keep asking if you want comments. Obviously, we love coming here. Emily, great to see you. Thank you. Poor girls, first, and then our new counselor, first time. We'd like to put you on the spot right away. Got to own it up. We are, and I will say that in echoing what you just said in terms of giving a foundation, there's always this talk of how our kids now, because of whatever, COVID, no screen time, how they just can't cope. or they are not able to figure out a solution on their own, or when something happens wrong, they absolutely melt. So to hear that we have it here at our elementary school, and how lucky we are that we do have, you said somebody was saying excellence in ed, gave us money, grants and things like that, that our community is well aware of the fact that this is an important aspect of growth and futuristic, living. And appreciate it. Very happy to be here. Thank you for opening the doors to us on this evening. With that, yes, thank you very much. We really appreciate having a sort of a meeting over here, but also having everyone else come over. And everyone showed up. Thank you. Awesome. You're more than welcome to stick around. We're going to go into superintendent's report, which has some highlights.
And then this board who's available will be here on Tuesday, January 27th. So we're so excited for our visit next week. Yep.
Thank you guys very much.
Yes.
Go Cubs.
And they're sticking around.
What about my presentation?
Sarks, anybody?
Yeah.
Okay, online.
Yeah, watch online. Superintendent report back to your teammates. Moving to item number 9, superintendent report.
Okay, thank you, President Driller. So I have 2 things that I want to give an update on tonight. First, I just want to celebrate our 1-year anniversary of the resolution we made last year about safe schools for all. The board passed this just to show our commitment and dedication to our families, so that all of our students can access a quality education, be safe and secure on our campus, get healthy meals, access the wellness and mental health services, and we remain committed to that access, no matter a student's immigration status, and we just really want everyone to feel safe and welcome, and we certainly do here at Tahoe Lake. The state of California is providing additional legislation to support us in this. So Senate Bill 98 focuses on transparency and keeping families informed if immigration enforcement activity occurs near or on a campus. So K-12 schools must notify students, parents, and staff as soon as this happens when their presence is in the area. And so we got to work with our District English Learner Advisory Committee, our DLAC team. They reviewed draft communication that Amber created and gave feedback on that. And so we want to make sure that we're clear to everyone that we do not have any reason to believe that ICE plans to come to TTUSD campuses, and that likelihood is very low. However, we are prepared and following the Senate Bill 98 and got feedback from our community on effective communication. So next week we'll send an email out to all of our families letting them know about this, and also reiterating at this time we do not have concerns about ICE coming on our campuses. And along with the Senate Bill 98, the California Department of Education has provided additional resources for schools so that students and families are aware of their rights. And so our DLAC committee reviewed the various resources that are available, and they made a recommendation that they would like all of the information posters and also the little cards to be available at all of our schools. So next week at our district leadership meeting, we will have copies of those and kind of review the policies and the new recommended policy from our Attorney General from California about how to, if ICE were to come, how to handle that. So we appreciate our DLAC community for their input, and I just appreciate all of our partnership in making our campuses welcome and safe for all of our families and students. Then the other half of my presentation is our mid-year check-in. Believe it or not, we are almost exactly halfway through the school year. And so this is our mid-year check-in on our district strategic plan, and it's just a chance for us to continue to hold ourselves accountable for the goals that we set and be transparent with our community about where we're at.
And these are our symbols. So this is our third year in our district strategic plan. And so we use a green box when it means the intent of the action for the year has been completed. These are really large-scale things, so if it is green, it doesn't mean that it's all done. It just means that it's well on its way, and we feel like it is going to be on a trajectory of completion or sustaining. Orange means we've got it started, but there's still some key things that need to be done and started, and then red means it has not got off the ground. And so this year, I've tried to put it all on one slide. We'll see how this works. So there, it's very colorful. There are 16 actions this year in our 3 focus areas. So you have academic achievement up at the top with 5 actions, support systems in the middle, and then community connections at the bottom. So there's a brief description of what the action theme is about, and then a check mark. So if the whole row is green, so for example at the top 111 math curriculum, that is green, that means we are fully implementing the newly adopted math curriculum, continuing with our teacher professional development. The 5th grade teachers were at the district office today working with Mrs. Colborn and Ms. Wooster, and we're integrating the ELD concepts into the map. And you can see that we have 6 that are in progress and then the 1 red one. And so the 1 red one we talked about at the last board meeting, that's the workforce housing, and we passed the resolution to, in 2 years, move out on our own and maybe use the workforce housing as a fee for service. And so we plan to move forward with construction on our Alder Creek land, but we just know that we're going to do it as a school district and not as part of the GPA. And then those other little green check marks, those are just letting you know that we've given you an update either at a board meeting or in the district newsletter. And so the ones you haven't gotten updates on, we will do that in the second half of the year. So overall, we're very excited that 15 out of the 16 actions are well on their way to being completed. And it's really a huge shout out to the staff, to the school sites, and the whole team. It's a collective effort to accomplish all of these goals. And Tahoe Lake's update was perfect for this. We are always looking at the actions, using the strategic plan as a guide. This was our collective goal setting. We had community input, student input, parent input, staff for all of these priority areas. And so the action for this year of 211, we did reword it, Anna Marie, Dr. Cohen, and her team. And you can see what changed is that they're using the Satchel Pulse data to inform instruction. And that's what we heard about tonight. Emily and Megan Hurley using the Satchel Pulse data to decide what lessons they're doing, what small groups they're pulling. So thank you so much for showcasing and showing why we wanted to change the wording of that action, because they're really using the new assessment tool to guide instruction. So we're very excited. And long-term goal, of course, is when our students launch out into adulthood for careers or college or whatever's next. And really, it's the collective work of all of us, our school sites, our teachers, the staff here, and our board guiding us. So we really appreciate everyone's work, and we're very excited about what we're accomplishing this year. And that concludes my update, but I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much for that, Superintendent Kramer. Are there any board questions or comments for Superintendent Kramer? None. Thank you very much for that. It's always great to hear. Good job, Tahoe Lake. Moving to 10.0 resolutions, Superintendent Kramer.
Absolutely. And at this point, I know we're going to excuse Trustee LeBach. Lapita, if you don't mind noting that. Okay, so for our resolution, we're going to turn to our Chief Business Officer, Assistant Superintendent, Mr. Todd Rivera.
Thank you, Superintendent Kramer, President Joe, and members of the board. So tonight we ask you to consider and approve resolution number 17, 2025-2026, which is titled Accept Termination of Leases and Quit Claim Deed with Core Construction, Inc. for the North Tahoe Campus Modernization Project. And what this is related to is the recent improvements that we did at North Tahoe, which included the stadium upgrades, bleacher upgrades, also modernization and renovation of the cafeteria space, and some exterior painting and crack sealing. So with that, if you recall, when we first were planning for this project, we went through a delivery method called the lease-leaseback delivery method. And what that entailed was a qualitative selection process of a contractor that we were able to bring on board early and work with the design team prior to the construction of the project. And with the requirements of the lease-leaseback delivery method, there is actually a lease component to that. So there's two different leases. There's a site lease, which we lease the land essentially, or give rights and lease the land to the contractor to be able to do those improvements. And then they do their construction. And then there's also a facilities lease. And the facilities lease essentially represents the final amount that's owed to the contractor for all of that construction and the improvements. With the facility lease, that doesn't commence until after full completion of the project, which the final completion was over this summer. So we have sent a memorandum to commence that lease agreement, and it essentially was built into the guaranteed maximum price, which is another component of the lease-leaseback delivery method. Basically, the contractor gives us a maximum price, and short of any unique circumstances, the construction will stay within that amount. So with that, the lease amount was designated as $150,000 to be paid monthly after the completion of the project. What this resolution does is essentially starts that timeline for payment of a lease and essentially sets the quick claim deed, which allows our option to pay the lump sum in full for the lease instead of having to do a monthly amount, and essentially reverts the ownership and rights of the property and for the site lease and the facilities lease back to the district. Any questions on this at all?
It's a tough one. I think I always try to think that I got it, and then I'm like, wait, I don't get it. I think I got it, but then wait. But my understanding is that the best part about the whole thing is that the project is done. Corey did a fantastic job, and then the lease buyback, and that is just a little bit, little challenging for me to comprehend, but I think I got most of it. Anyone else have any thoughts or questions? We're good. But that is a celebration, Todd, that we are completed. With that, would anyone care to make a motion to approve resolution, number 17?
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 17, 2025-26, accepting the termination of leases and quickly deed for construction.
I'll second.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Yep.
Is that it?
Yep. Thank you, Pat. Moving to.
Sorry, aye.
11.0 donation, Superintendent Kramer.
And for both donation items, we're going to turn to our Assistant Superintendent Ed Services, Mrs. Sean Roderick.
Thank you, Superintendent Kramer. Good evening, President Driller, Board of Trustees, and community. The Optimist Club of Truckee has generously donated $1,000 to the Sierra High School Forestry and Natural Resource CTE program for the Wolf Project documentary at Sierra High School. This donation will help Sierra High School students fund their trip to Montana, where they will showcase the Wolf Project documentary at an international level. As a staff's recommendation, the Board of Trustees accepts this generous donation from the Optimist Club of Truckee.
Thank you. Are there any comments or questions from the board? Pat? No. I'm just overjoyed that we are continually getting more support for this project. I'm happy to make a motion to accept the donation from the Optimist Club and thank them profusely for the Wolf Project documentary at Sierra High School.
I'll second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. 11.2, Superintendent Kramer.
Thank you, Superintendent Kramer. West Orthodontics, a local Truckee business, has generously donated $1,000 to the Sierra High School Forestry and Natural Resource CTE program for the Wolf Project documentary at Sierra High School. This donation will help Sierra High School students fund their trip to Montana, where they will showcase the Wolf Project documentary at an international level. It is the staff's recommendation the Board of Trustees accepts this generous donation from West Orthodontics.
Comments or questions from the board?
I just want to recognize that West Orthodontics often does donations for lots of different student-driven activities, whether it's PTOs or other things. And so even though it's one of the first ones we've seen on an agenda, they are often a huge contributor. So huge shout out to them for everything they do for us.
Thank you. With that, would you care to make a motion for 11.2?
I'll make a motion to accept the donation from West Orthodontics.
I'll second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Perfect. Moving to grants, Superintendent Kramer, 12.0.
And for the first one, we'll turn to Mr. Rivera.
Thank you. So tonight I'm pleased to request that you accept a $5,000 grant from the Friends of Earth for plant-based school food seed funding. And what that grant entails essentially is to promote more plant-based foods in our cafeteria. And as part of that grant, some of the things that we'll use this funding are to wrap the district delivery vans in a vibrant, eye-catching imagery of plant-based foods and farm-to-school themes. Also, with the remaining funds, I will be conducting taste tests with the students for plant-based foods, and in addition, create new plant-based food menu items that can be on a recurring basis in our cafeterias.
Cool. That sounds awesome. Very excited. Any comments from the board? Questions? Again, I always look at Friends of the Earth. That's great. I think it's lovely that we're looking at new and different ways to get sources of income. Would anyone care to make a motion for 12.1?
I'll make a motion to accept the plant-based school food seed funding grant from Friends of the Earth.
I'll second. Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. And 12.2, Superintendent Kramer.
Mrs. Rucker.
Thank you, Superintendent Kramer. The Truckee Elementary PTO has generously awarded a $1,000 grant to Truckee Elementary School. This funding is designated specifically to support third grade transportation, ensuring that students have busing to attend valuable field trips for off-site learning experiences throughout the school year. It is the staff's recommendation the Board of Trustees accepts this generous grant from the Truckee Elementary PTO.
Thank you very much for that. So I just want to say that we always thank our PTOs, and it's obviously it's wonderful that we get to do field trips, so that's my favorite thing. So I'll make a motion to accept the grant from our Truckee PTO for our transportation for our third grade field trips.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Just so you know, Pat, there's a small delay, which is classic. We're just staring at you. Moving to 13.0 technology. Superintendent Kramer?
Yes, and for this item, I'm pleased to welcome our Chief Technology Officer, Mr. Ed Hilton, to share a short presentation with us.
Did I say it was short?
My apologies for as long as needed presentation.
Yes, as needed. Well, thank you, Superintendent Kramer. Good evening, President Droller, Board of Trustees, Cabinet, staff, Tahoe Lake administrators, and community. Thank you for being here tonight. It's my privilege to present an analysis of student data around digital engagement across the district. And as you know, technology and education is a frequent topic of conversation for our entire community, parents, teachers, and students alike. And since the pandemic, there have been a number of news articles and books studying the increase in technology use by kids. The conversations often center on the legitimate fears. The students are using their screens all day, passively consuming content. I want to start by acknowledging those concerns directly. In T2SD, we are fully aligned with our community. Our goal is to ensure that technology is utilized as a tool for active learning rather than as a passive distraction and a source of entertainment. To ensure this is the case, we conducted an audit of our digital usage from mid-November through the first week in January. And tonight I'll walk you through what the data tells us about the digital diet of our students at school. Now, as many of you know, I love food, so when I look at complex data, I often use culinary metaphors. I won't use sauce today. I do like sauces as well, but I'll leave the sauce on the side. And when we analoged, and I will say that's supposed to be a pickle. I used AI to help me draw this, and it's more like a sriracha pickle. So, yeah, it is not a Band-Aid, I promise. And Kat did not approve this. When we analyzed the usage logs, I expected to see a mix of data, but what emerged was what I like to call the productivity sandwich. Here's what our students' digital day looks like. There's the bread, the thing holding everything together. It's productivity. This is Google Docs, Google Classroom, the whole Google Workspace suite, and Canva, which I'm using tonight, and so did Tahoe Lake. It makes up the bulk of the sandwich. It's about 38% of daily activity. The filling, the protein, is our core curriculum. For example, Carnegie Learning for math, iReady for intervention, Lexia for reading. And then there's the garnishes, the sriracha pickles on the side. It represents distraction or entertainment-based sites. It can also be educational games, online quizzes like Kahoot, which we heard about from the North Tahoe School at the last board meeting. Contrary to the fear that students are feasting on junk food during the day at Tahoe Truckee, the data shows that these types of websites represent very little of our daily activity at our school campuses. Our TTUSD digital sandwich is hearty, healthy, and focused on learning and productivity. Let's talk about how we gathered the ingredients for the sandwich. In November, we implemented a new analytics module called Securely Reveal. Reveal gives us a level of precision we hadn't had before around student device usage. It doesn't just tell us which websites a student visited like our URL filter does. We've had that for over a decade. It tracks active engagement on each site. This means Reveal can distinguish between a student who has a Google Doc open and is actively typing versus a student who's left a tab open and is watching a YouTube video on top of that instead of typing. We aren't just measuring clicks, we're measuring time on task. The data you're about to see is filtered to reflect activity on district-issued Chromebooks during active school hours from about 8 a.m. to 3 p.m., depending on the time of the day that the school starts and stops. We focused on what is happening in the classroom and wanted to quantify that data for you tonight. Let's look at the district-wide totals. If the concern is that device use is an addiction in class, we would expect to see a flat, if not higher, line of usage regardless of what is happening in school. However, the data shows the opposite. This is average across the district, TK through 12. Usage tracks closely with the academic calendar. In November, during the end of trimester quarter push for projects and essays, usage peaked at 1 hour and 50 minutes average across the district. In January, after the break, as we begin to reset in the new year, usage dropped to just 44 minutes per day average across the district. Looking ahead, as the month comes to a close, we do expect to see the usage increase as the semester ends for our high schools. I looked at the data for today, and our average so far in January, I had to put the presentation together a little bit ahead of time, but now in January, we're at about 1 hour and 15 minutes, so we're kind of back up to where it was in December. This confirms that at school, our devices are digital pencils, tools picked up to do work and put away when the digital work is done. It's helpful to break this down by grade level, so let's first look at elementary. This is often the most concern, but I'm happy to report that digital usage is the lowest in the district at our elementary grade span, averaging from 20 to 50 minutes a day. The tools being used most often are using iReady and Lexia and Google Docs. This is not open web browsing. There are adaptive intervention tools. These are adaptive intervention tools that help us identify skill needs and close gaps in literacy and math. Combined with Google Docs for early writing, this is an open-faced sandwich of essential nutrients. It's highly managed by our professional educators when the tools are appropriate for use in the classroom, and we saw that also tonight. As students move to middle school, we see a shift towards logic and creation. Usage increases to about 45 to 100 minutes, driven by Google Docs for essays and lab reports. We also see a spike in Carnegie learning for our sixth graders, which aligns with their specific math curriculum at the secondary level. At the middle school, we also see the introduction of Scratch, a coding platform from the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. Research shows that coding builds executive function, planning, and resilience. Students they're not just playing games, they're building the logic to create them. In high school, the Chromebooks become a digital workspace. It's their textbook, it's their binder, it's their library, it's their communication tool, especially as they move into college and career. The number one platform is Google Docs. Our high schoolers logged over 1,800 collective hours writing in just a 2-week window. We also see high usage of Google Classroom, AP course dashboards, and ARIES, which is our SIS, also known as a Student Information System. It's where they can get their grades. It tells us that students are exercising their own agency for their learning. They're managing their own assignments. They're tracking their own grades. They're getting ready for college and career. I want to pause, though. The YouTube statistic, number 4 on the high school leaderboard, as I know it might raise a few eyebrows, and we're interested in what that means. The data shows that on average, high school student spends 27 minutes per week on YouTube during school hours. That pencils out to a little over 5 minutes per school day per student. This low duration confirms the instructional context. Teachers embed short 3 to 5 minute clips into Google Classroom or their slide decks to explain complex concepts, like chemical reactions or historical speech. Students are engaging in just-in-time learning, not binge-watching entertainment for long periods of time. So to wrap up, our food analogy, is the diet healthy? The answer is a definitive yes. The vegetables, sriracha pickles, and the whole grains, productivity tools, and core curriculum make up 95% of the TTUSD student digital diet. The empty calories, passive consumption are present in just trace amounts. Our students are using technology to create, not just passive consumers. So finally, I want to highlight how this data positions us strategically. The state of California passed Assembly Bill 873 in 2023, which mandates digital media literacy in the classroom. The state's currently revising curriculum frameworks. Ms. Roderick is familiar with that. And all of them are to include this, according to Assembly Bill 873, with a focus on teaching students how to create media responsibly and not just consume it. And here's the good news. TTUSD is ahead of the game. We aren't waiting for the state to release a new framework in 2027 or 2028, and that's with all of our content areas, not just technology. Because our students are already using tools like Scratch to code, Google Docs to publish, T2SD is compliant with the spirit of these new mandates before they're even enforced. I'm happy to report that we lead the state in digital agency. I want to close by assuring you that usage doesn't happen by accident in the classroom. It's the result of a deliberate layered security architecture that we have here in Tahoe Truckee and have been building since I've been involved in it for over 14 years. We don't just hand out devices and hope for the best. We have 3 distinct layers of protection in place, and I wanted to review them with you just as a reminder. I've talked about them before over the years. First, we have our securely web filter that blocks harmful content at the network level for everyone, students and staff alike, with different access lists depending on the grade span. Second, our app block lists were updated by school building administration in the summer of 2025, so just this last summer. This allows us to scaffold access for students. For example, YouTube is blocked entirely for elementary students to use by themselves, but it's available in a restricted, monitored capacity for middle and high school students while on campus who use it for learning and research. Social media platforms like TikTok and Snapchat and Instagram are blocked across the board. They're not accessible on district devices. Third, teachers have classroom management tools like Securely Classroom, Hopara, and Land School that they use to monitor and facilitate digital learning in real time. The layered approach assures that students, as students mature, their digital world expands responsibly under the guidance of our professional instructors. So in conclusion, the data confirms that we're not just reacting to technology, we are mastering its use, and it changes daily, and have been since our first computer labs were installed here in Tahoe Truckee in the late 80s and early 90s. The implementation of Reveal has validated our anecdotal observations as we go to classrooms in our schools and academic strategy across grade spans and content areas. The productivity sandwich is good, it's yummy, and it confirms that our students are focused on work, not on consumption and junk food and waste. And we will continue to monitor this data to ensure our focus remains on active creative work. We're interested to see how things change throughout the school year. Our students are using technology exactly as intended to enhance their learning and academic achievement. Thank you for listening, and I'm happy to take any questions. I should have done this with CAT, Combined Food Services Technology.
I just was going to say that.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for that, Mr. Elton. Any
You're welcome.
questions from the board? Pat?
Yes, thank you, Dee. And I'm looking at the audience. I can't see you or your presentation, except I was following along with the slide deck as best as I could. There it is. Okay, thank you. I do have just a couple questions regarding how you are able, whether it's Securely or whatever system that you're using, is able to determine, when a student opens a tab, and hopefully it's a tab that has been assigned by the teacher, and then the student proceeds to, open other tabs that are not approved by the teacher. Does your data show that?
It does, and the way the tool uses, we have there's what's called extensions on the student-issued Chromebooks, and that helps us for a number of things. There's about 6 or 7 that are actively pushed out to each of the student Chromebooks. One is Securely Aware, which is our URL filter. It filters out things like guns, pornography, violence, weapons. It also alerts us if students start searching for things like suicide, ideation, they're worried about something at school, and that gets leveled up to a school administrator or a counselor. We've had those in place for a while. What's different about Securely Reveal is that it's another extension that lives on the Chrome tab. It'll also live on any Chrome tabs that are opened by the student. So even if they open additional tabs, it's still tracking not only what they're on, but how they're engaged with the tab. So if they stop moving the mouse on one tab, it'll pick it up on the other tab. Or if they stop altogether, it'll stop. So it does pick up all those things. And one of the big ones, I didn't put it in the data, was blank tab. So that's how we know that, kids open it up and it just open a blank tab and it just sits there. So we know that it's picking up some of that. So I had to filter out some of that extraneous data that was taking up some. So we're still we're getting these baseline results so far, so it's still new. So I'm interested to see how it changes over time. But essentially they can't open up something and not have that extension. It is pushed out to every device.
Okay, thank you. And I'd like to go on a little bit if I could.
Sure.
Does the teacher have access to Securely Reveal and where they can monitor and maybe control within their classroom in real time what students are doing on their Chromebooks without having to stand behind everybody all the time?
Yeah, that's another good question. We use a mix of tools just because different grade spans pick them up at different times. Our earliest user is Sierra High School, and they use Hopara, which was kind of first on the scene back in the early aughts, or the late aughts. So that was when I was still teaching at Sierra High in the late 2009, 2010. We implemented that, and they've kind of grown with Chromebook use. Later on, we added Securely Classroom at the high school levels, mostly to kind of restrict as we used programs like Amplify for credit recovery and to lock some things down. Now Amplify has their own system. You know, a lot of these have come, COVID kind of accelerated the creation of some of these tools for the classroom. Land School is used at the middle school level to do just what you were talking about. So even with the blocks we have in place, if a teacher wants to really have engagement focused on certain websites or activities, they can control it from a group of websites or to just one or two that they approve. At the elementary levels, we've been using some Land School at the 4th and 5th grades. The cool thing is Google finally implemented, it's part of Google Classroom now, it's called Class Tools. It's not as, we've been reported it's not as easy to use as some of the other tools, but it is there and it's available for teachers to use along with their Chromeboxes or their teacher devices to monitor use in the classroom. But again, they're a bit more restricted, and they don't typically have as much open. It's controlled access. They're using the devices in centers or as specific activities more so than at the later grade spans.
Okay, and do all of our teachers, elementary through high school, have these security systems where they can monitor their students' Chromebooks inside the classroom?
Yes, they have access to them. Not all of them need to use them or do use them. It just depends on what they would like to do in the classroom. So they have to be under our filter. They have to be under our blocks. That said, like the teacher can restrict if they really want to. Others manage it through classroom management and centers, things like that. I mean, students can't just go over and log into something or start researching without the teacher giving that direction.
Okay.
And then specifically, I did want to. You had asked about Reveal itself. So this is a new tool. And we did give access. We did a training with our lights the other day, and a light is a leader integrating technology and education at every school site. And we just trained them last Thursday. They were at a release day, and we gave access to them so they could look at it with their building leader and discuss the usage or if they see anything they want to highlight. So they will have their data for their school site, like I showed you today in the presentation. What's being used, how it's being used, how long it's being used, all those good things.
Great. This is hard having a conversation like this.
I know it is. One cool thing I just want to share, I didn't put it in the presentation, but one thing that I know Todd likes is we like to make sure that we're using the tools that we purchase. And this is also something to ensure that we're getting engagement from the tools that we use in the classroom. So if there's something that we're kind of not using anymore, it kind of highlights that as well.
Okay. And of your healthy sandwich there, what percentage of students were, monitored or checked on district-wide to gather this data?
Yeah, there were about 3,400 out of 4,200 students that are monitored. The reason for the discrepancy there is because we do allow, the sites do allow students to bring their own devices at the upper grade levels.
Sorry, can you repeat that?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, it was about 3,400 out of 4,200 total students that we have. 3,400 were monitored at some point during the monitoring window. And the reason for that is that some of our students are not using district devices on campus. So they're still filtered, they're still under blocks. They actually might get blocked more when they're on the school site, but we just can't gather that data because we don't have an extension on their browser. They're using our guest network. Or they could be using their own hotspot to their cell phone or whatever. I mean, there's a lot of different ways that students can connect. But that is at the upper high school level typically.
Okay, and thanks so much for this detailed presentation. I'm glad to see that the district is, that you and the district are taking steps to not just monitor screen time and screen usage of our students while they're in the classroom, but actually taking steps to, I don't want to say minimize it, but make its use most appropriate when it's in the classroom. There is a great deal of concern among parents, myself included, in regards to screen time, not just at home and everywhere else, but also in the classroom. I know we've heard from parents regarding that, and we have heard from teachers as well who are concerned that they don't have enough control over what kids are using their Chromebooks for in the classroom. So this presentation was great. It sounds like we're on the right track. I think I still have questions down the road. You and I can talk about that. But thanks so much for this presentation, Ed. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome, Pat.
Thank you, Pat. Any other comments from our board here?
My question was answered by one of Pat's questions, but thank you for the presentation.
You're welcome, Chris.
Thank you. Very informative.
Yeah, I guess I never thought of it at that level of detail, and so seeing it kind of in real time was helpful to understand how it changes from the elementary school level up through high school. And I think it's also a useful tool for parents, like if they've watched this presentation, to get that feedback and understanding of your student is already on their screen during the day for legitimate purposes. Maybe that's a conversation for them of you should think about what you're doing outside of school hours and how you're monitoring your screen time outside of school hours so that it's not the whole day, right? So I think it's just an additional conversation piece for students and parents to have. There's some, sort of self-accountability there too, especially at the high school level. Maybe you can do some of that work on your pen and paper, go old school, and complement that with what you need to do when you're turning assignments using Google Classroom, all of that. So I think it's a great snapshot. It'd be interesting to see if it changes over time.
Yeah, no, thank you for that, Danielle. And it's been a privilege to meet up with it's kind of funny how things come back. Like, we're having some of these conversations when we first started doing this back in like 2010, 11, 12. And I was part of the first Wait Until 8th campaign at North Tahoe School. I did a presentation with the counselors there at the time. I was one of the first signers. And it's fun to see it come back. And I just met with a group of parents a couple of weeks ago who are kind of ramping that back up again and trying to do some initiatives to recognize, not just like what you said, yeah, there's a specific amount that's happening at school, but when students are at home, like, it can be cumulative. So what are we doing at home to partner with schools and make sure not that we're making sure that kids are using technology appropriately, but not overusing it as well. So those are great things.
So that was part of the general session that we had at the CSBA conference. It was about AI and how we use it. And one of the takeaways was that it's there, and the biggest part is how do you use it productively but also safely. And I appreciate you saying you just don't give them a phone book and throw it out for the darts and figure it out. That it's a purposeful commute, as they say, to getting the tools, but then also giving them the parameters and the boundaries. So I appreciate that as well. With this, is there any public comment on this item since, Corey?
Can you come to the mic?
I hate to do this to you, but,
we'll get you on.
Thank you. Public record. You like public, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I just wanted to say, Pat and Kirsten and I.
Can I ask we know it, but the public behind us does not.
I'm Corey Hunt, and I have 3 kids in Ontario Elementary.
Thank you.
And Kirsten and Pat and I went and toured Alder Creek and the high school a few weeks ago. And I just want to say, like, it's awesome that I asked for this data and that you guys delivered. Like, I don't think that anywhere else is, as far as I know, is like tracking what they're doing in school. Thank you for sending that over individually. I do want to say, one of the questions that I kept asking Kirsten and Pat when we were on that was like, what's the game here? And with Google Docs, like, what's the game here? We know we're losing stuff with handwriting and face-to-face, and we're losing a common experience. So I think it's important we keep asking ourselves those questions. And the other thing I wanted to know, I'd sent me this ahead of time, just in November, but to look at this cumulatively, if you look at what, I put together a spreadsheet, and I think my numbers are correct, but the average academic day, I think, is 5.75 hours. Could be wrong, but if we take that, it's roughly 2 hours a day in November. If we take that over a student career, that's 4 full years of academic days. So, and I'm happy to send over the spreadsheet so I can be corrected whenever I went wrong. But to look at that over an entire high school career, is if we're at 2 hours a day, that's what we're sacrificing. But yeah, that's it. I think I appreciate everything you shared, but just keep asking that question, like, what are we gaining here? And what are we losing to that real pros and cons? Thank you.
Thank you, Tori. Good points. Thank you very much for that, Ed. Timely as always, and here we go. That was good. Getting all those schools that you started.
Yeah.
That's good. If there's no further questions, we'll move on to 14.0 consent. Superintendent Kramer, are there any items that need to be pulled from cabinet or from you?
Nothing from staff.
Board? With that, would anyone care to make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Thank you. Second on that. I'll second. Perfect. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Thank you.
Okay.
Aye. There it is. Aye.
Moving to 16.0, educational services.
Yes, and for this item, we'll turn to Mrs. Roderick.
Thank you, Superintendent Kramer. Tonight, I'm happy to present the 2025-2026 School Accountability Report Card Plans from the 2024-2025 school year, also known as SARCs, for your review and consideration. The School Accountability Report Card, or SARC, plays a crucial role in ensuring that our district is transparent and accountable in its daily operations. It also provides parents, community members, and the public with valuable information about our schools. The SARC is a detailed report of each school's performance. It covers a wide range of areas, including academic performance, student demographics, the overall school climate, staffing information, and school funding use. The state of California requires all public schools to write an updated SARC every year. The SARC shares various information, including the standardized test scores, graduation rates, and preparation for college and careers. It also highlights school environment, including attendance, suspension, and parents' level of engagement. The SARC also outlines teacher qualifications, including credentials, experience, and professional development opportunities. School accountability report cards are tools for continuous improvement within our district. It is important to acknowledge the significant achievements at each school site. Our teachers, site leaders, students, and families are working together with dedication and commitment to ensure T2SD scholars are learning at the highest level possible. It is the staff's recommendation that the Board of Trustees approve the 2025-2026 School Accountability Report Card for the 2024-2025 school year.
It's almost sound like you're working on a budget.
There is part of that to it.
I had to think twice about what you were saying. Thank you for that, Mrs. Robert. Any comments about the assessment from the board? Seeing none, this is an action.
Oh, just quickly, I just want to call out Darn Trail, because when I went through all of them, I thought the information was great, but their numbers for like the past tests and I mean, they were just so standout. So just a shout out to them, not to the detriment of any of the other schools and what they're accomplishing too, but it was just a highlight. I thought, yeah.
Yeah, anyway, sorry, it's a lot of work, and I think you've always mentioned this, Chris, that it is always a lot of work from every school site to put it all together. And as much as it seems painful, it's something that we really appreciate. I mean, I'm sure it is painful, but it is something that we appreciate, and it's awesome to hear. And again, the highlights are always good. And then it does give us a scorecard in terms of what we need to improve on, and those things are always helpful, and that's what we obviously are looking on. So with that, I'll make a motion to approve the 24-25 school accountability report cards. Is there a second? Thank you, Danielle. Is there, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you, Pat. You were on it that time, buddy. Nice work. Moving to B, curriculum and instruction, Superintendent Kramer.
So for these next three items, they're infos and first reads. So Mrs. Roderick, if you want to go through each one and then just ask questions, then move on to the next one, if that's okay with
Yes.
President Driller. Okay, because they're all kind of connected.
I'm very excited about them.
Yeah.
Thank you. Tonight I'm presenting a first read of the proposed high school course, CTE, Criminal Justice and Law course at North Tahoe High School for the 2025-2026 academic year. This year-long course comprehensively introduces the state and federal justice systems. This rigorous research, writing, and real-world applications help students explore the intricacies of different legal divisions, master trial practices, and develop a strong ethical foundation. Designed for aspiring legal professionals at all levels, this course will equip students with essential skills to succeed. Students will understand the legal landscape better through captivating case studies, thought-provoking novels, current events, and insightful guest lectures. The criminal justice course also integrates CTE standards for the public service pathway, ensuring students are prepared to make a meaningful impact on society. This is a first read for information only.
Can you clarify, please? You said 25-26 year. Is it for 20? It's for next year.
We'll open it next year, and then it'll be ongoing.
Yes.
25-26 is the first. Oh, sorry, 26-27. I apologize.
Thank you. I was like, wait, okay, we're not doing. So it's 26-27. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank
and
you.
then this is a student-driven decision. Is that how we get these?
Correct.
First read. Okay. Thank you for that.
Tonight I'm presenting a first read of the proposed high school course, CTE, Outdoor Adventure and Recreation course at North Tahoe High School for the 2026-2027 academic year. This year-long 7-unit course provides a comprehensive study of outdoor adventure and recreation, covering foundational concepts, hands-on recreational activities, essential backcountry survival and land navigation skills, the exploration of U.S. public lands and parks, a project on environmental stewardship, and an analysis of the tourism industry, also related to careers and certifications. Outdoor adventure and recreation also integrates CTE standards through the hospitality, tourism, and recreation pathway, ensuring our students are prepared to take advantage of opportunities to share and explore the natural resources and industries both locally and globally. This is a first read for information only.
I'm sorry, but I think you misread something on there that said this is the first class that a board member can actually teach. Something is you're missing it. That is, cannot even tell you how excited that's my college job. That was it.
Well, then we need to talk.
Recreation management, outdoor ed, environmental science. So this is perfect. No doubt this will be a hot ticket. Mm-hmm. But anyway, very, very excited about that one. But yes, this will be a tough one. I think we're going to change policy on that one. 16.4.
Tonight I'm presenting a first read of the proposed high school CTE clothing design course at North Tahoe High School for 26-27 academic year. Offered through a full-year clothing design course, students in grades 9 through 12 will earn visual and performing arts credit while covering comprehensive sewing techniques ranging from hand stitching and embroidery to using machine operations. Students begin by mastering equipment safety and maintenance before progressing to hands-on projects, such as creating plushies, keychains, zipper pouches, and tote bags. As the curriculum progresses, students will learn to calculate yardage and work with different fabrics, such as knit and fleece, to construct wearable items. This course also emphasizes creative expression and sustainability through upskilling, assignments, and service learning initiatives, culminating in a final project where students select a commercial pattern to create a garment of accessories of their choice. CTE clothing design integrates in CTE standards for the fashion and interior design pathway, ensuring students are prepared to take advantage of opportunities to explore and share benefits of their own talents to learn more about sustainability both locally and globally. This is a first read for information only.
Pat, any comments?
Danielle?
Yeah, I'm excited about all of these. I think that criminal justice can cross over into lots of public service options, such as law enforcement, code compliance. Definitely have a lot of degrees in a lot of government agencies that are focused on criminal justice, so that's an awesome pathway. The outdoor adventure and recreation speaks to our environment here, and there's so many different avenues, and I think, a lot of times when students are trying to figure out what their future interests might be, it's really the exposure that's the key kind of path for them, that if they're unaware of what options even are, then they don't even know how to think outside of what the norms are. So I really appreciate that as being a new opportunity. It focuses into so many different areas, including being an entrepreneur, because there are many people in this area who rely on sort of that outdoor recreation for their businesses. And then the clothing design course, I know we kind of talk about it in terms of fashion and interior design, but we actually have a lot of local businesses too that have taken that to another level. So we have people who make handbags and they're repurposing materials and using sails from sailboats and other things. So I just really think that's such a unique level of exposure to, and somewhat of a life skill. I don't know how many times I've heard people say like, oh, I can't find someone to fix this or hem this. So even just that, touching a sewing machine, knowing how to use it, is such a critical skill for a lot of people and provides such an interesting path. I would be curious to see too, at some point, if they would be taking donations, because I know there's a lot of community members who are into doing their own design work, or they're crafters, and so there's oftentimes a lot of surplus fabric that could be donated. So I think if we get to that point in the school, who's ever running the class is interested, kind of putting a shout out for that, so you would get a lot of donations for zippers, for buttons, for kind of anything like that. So maybe some unusual materials too, which would be really cool, but I'm super excited about all of them.
Exactly what Trustee Missionary said. Absolutely.
I was going to say that I would not be the one able to do the fashion design. That would not be mine. I'm excited about it. That I mean, again, I think every school does their own creative kind of plug, and I think North Tahoe has done a great job with getting the students involved in this decision making, and I commend that administration for creating it and then obviously aligning it with our pathways. And we've talked about always putting it back into what makes our community successful, and hospitality is successful. We did the fire, we did this medical. I really think that it's what's going to keep our community going, and the more connections we can make with all of our other entities here, our community, the better off we will be. But I'm excited about all of them. And so this is information and only, and I think we're comfortable bringing that back to consent. All right, moving to 17.0, board business. Pat, you want to start us off so you can go to bed? Okay. Poor Pat, he is definitely sick. Danielle.
I don't have anything yet.
Perfect.
Okay, I'll go. So I went with Superintendent Kramer and with you, President Miller, to North Tahoe Middle School last week. Days are blurry.
Feels like a long time ago.
Yeah, and I just wanted to thank them for their hospitality, and I love how when we walk through hallways in schools, and I think that Tahoe Lake alluded to that in their presentation, you can kind of see the breadth of what's going on in the school just by the display of the projects, their writing technique, their, it was like space planning graphs in the hallway, which I was just blown away by and just really enjoyed. So I just wanted to say thank you to them for that. Also, this is kind of a personal thing. I've had 2 interactions over the last 2 weeks where people think I have moved out of the area. So I think that might be because I'm taking care of a sick parent out of town, or because I often travel, like all of us get to go on road trips or camping. I don't know. I am a Kings Beach resident. I am legally responsible for being a Kings Beach Area 3 representative to this district. I want to be your representative, so I'm just making it 100% clear and on the record. I am a Tahoe resident. I live in Kings Beach. So I'm just saying that because I feel like one was at a community event and the other one was a teacher at North Tahoe Middle School. So I just wanted to just put that out there. And then the last thing is, it's just, you know, I feel like tonight's meeting was a little bit of a roller coaster. It was very important to hear from our community about how they're feeling and perceiving what's happening or understanding what's happening with athletics. And then we went to a great, soulful presentation from Tahoe Lake Elementary. So I was just like, I'm not really sure how to feel, but I wanted to reiterate what you shared at the end of public comment and what you shared at the end of public comment, that we do hear you, community, we do hear you, students, and we are doing things on your behalf. So I just wanted to put that out there because it just kind of hurts my heart a little bit that people would think that the 5 of us sit here and not advocate for student voice and parent voice. That would go completely against our current board culture. So anyway, I just wanted to say that. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Hennessy. It was a roller coaster for sure. I do think that it's extremely important, and I'm so glad that we do have public comment and that we do have people that are able to feel comfortable coming and speaking, and we were able to get through everybody's comments peacefully, quietly. I think our public is very well behaving in the sense of adversity. However, I also am pained to think that public's perception is that we're doing nothing and that we are lying down and just saying, yes, we'll do whatever CBE says. It is a Tetris, and I do appreciate you saying that it was tough to deal with I wouldn't say the attack, because I think they were very polite about everything, but we are in a really tough situation, and I don't think that the perception is fair. There's a lot of work that's going on behind the scenes, and there's a lot of balancing that we're doing. But truth be told, everyone on this board and everyone in this district knows that Truckee corridor is tough. This is not our choice. This is not our plan. This is not our goal. We are reacting in the best way we can, and it's definitely not easy. I am looking forward to the community committee that we're creating. I do like some of the comments that said we are going to work together because that's the only way we're going to get through this. But I do want the public to know as well, and I said it once before, that we are not sitting back doing nothing. I won't even touch on that one. I was fortunate enough to be in a meeting this morning with CAT, the Tahoe Food Hub, Sierra Community Center, the Nevada Food Bank, to discuss having food pantries available for our students and our students' families. Definitely have some work to do, but definitely there's a need to connect the food surpluses to the needy people. Lakeside's definitely not serviced well. We are aware of that, and we're working to try to get that, but we are looking at pilot programs. CAT is phenomenal. Yes. Our CAT, in terms of just knowing what's out there and then having to try to get resources together. It's a team effort. There is the Tahoe Forest Hospital was there, as well as our principals. Sarah DiPrinzio was there. Our nurses were there. So our counselor. So we're definitely trying to make something happen with our food insecurities in the basin, which was awesome. I'm so happy to be part of it because, as you know, I desperately can't stand wasting food. First day out cross-country skiing with Tahoe Lake Elementary School, paved the way. It was awesome with Mrs. Lay. Did go, oh my God, Friday. Truckee Elementary came to Tahoe, or to Alpine, and for some reason I said, I'll help. Well, they gave me the 10-year-old boys, and I don't know if we even landed on any ground. We launched everything. Coming over the hill, I see a ski in the air, and it's like, did you check the landing? Yeah, I don't know how my ski fell off. Anyway, all 7 boys made it back, and my 1 girl. It was awesome. But then Truckee L is coming more to. been Tuesday and Friday that we have skiing for schools for the Palisades is helping us out, and I think the Tahoe Lake goes to Palisades. But anyway, totally fun. That's why this 16.3 is a great thing. At this point, I will close our meeting, but then I do believe our board is going to adjourn to our second closed session to complete more discussion on our athletic situation. So with that, 7:57, this meeting is adjourned.